Well, here we go, Wes. I guess we have to start the show with, the literal elephant in the room. I know everybody's got it on their minds, and, I don't know. There's really no other way to say this, but a national tragedy did, in fact, occur here in America this week. And I'm just going to read the story straight from CNN. Nearly 50 locations of TGI Fridays abruptly closed this past week. They were at 500 restaurants as of 4 years ago, and now down to just 164 restaurants. What are we doing, man? Where did America go wrong? How did we get to the point where, you have to drive more than 25 miles just to get to a fucking thank God it's Fridays to get your cheap margaritas?
You're on a road trip and you're on a highway and it says this exit and it has it broken down by, food, gas, lodging. And then the food, you're always going to see a TGI Friday at every stop, nearly every stop. It's going to be what that and then insert whatever, Wawa, Chili's. No, I was going to say Chi-Chi's. That doesn't exist anymore. Long John Silver's. But yeah, the TGI Friday is a staple on those. What are they going to do? Are they going to have to go peel off the sticker on those interstate highway?
Yeah, but you know what happens when you peel off a TGI Friday sticker? There's an Applebee's logo right underneath of it.
Oh, that's right. God.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if I've ever actually been to a TGI Fridays, if I'm being perfectly honest.
So they went from 500 to 450, roughly?
No, down to 160.
Wait, you said 45.
I don't know what I said, okay? Maybe I'm just kind of so verklempt here because of the shock and awe of this entire thing.
So there's a little more than 3 per state. You got to figure Alaska probably has 1 and Hawaii has none. California has what? I don't know, 6 or 7, maybe 8.
Yeah, but I just feel like TGI Fridays is one of those things where like you said, they're almost like one in every jurisdiction. Every voting block in America had at least one TGI Fridays. No, they were up at 500 4 years ago, and they're going to be down to 164 now after they do their next round of closings. It's just like California, Ohio, New Jersey, New York, Florida, Missouri is where a lot of these restaurants are going to be closing. I just, last year they had 270. They're slicing it in half, man. Just like their half-price margaritas on there every Thursday night.
God, that should have been a staple in every debate for the last couple of months. Former President Bush and Vice President Harris, listen, there's a tragedy going on. Fracking, energy, immigration, illegal immigration, wars over the country. Brush that aside. TGI Fridays. we got to get to the root of this. And that's a bummer. That's in the infamous words of the dude, man. Bummer, man. I have eaten that. There was one at Newark, Delaware that I used to go to occasionally because it had a really good half price buy one get one on Friday nights. So you could get a $3.50 margarita and then get one for free after that. And they double pour you. You didn't have to finish one to get another one. You get 2 and you could double fist and putz around and mingle with the other. I like to say co-eds at the University of Delaware, but the UD co-eds weren't going there. These were more like middle-aged folk who were just trying to blow off a little bit of steam after a long work week.
I feel like what happens with places like TGI Friday, it's the same thing you see when you watch all these restaurant shows, like Gordon Ramsay's shows, and then what's the one with Bar Rescue and all that, is the restaurants, they start out successful because they're super simple, right? Like Red Robin. Yum. They were a burger and beer place. Have you been to a Red Robin recently?
No. I would say it's the better part of a decade, if not more.
You know why? Because they stopped concentrating on making one thing great. They were like, come try our new Cobb salad, cheeseburger bite, bagel cheese concoction. And it's like, what are you talking about? Make fucking cheeseburgers. Just, you know what? Don't make a list of pre-made burgers that you guys have made. Just say, here's what we got. Would you want a regular patty, a quarter-pound patty? We're going to do a fucking half-pound patty. It's going to take a half hour to cook it, but God damn it, we'll bring it out exactly how you like it. And then just, what do you want on it? And just have 100 different items that you can stack that burger with. Do something like that. If you go to a Red Robin now, they've got 3 pages of burgers, and it's just like, it's overwhelming. They've got other stuff on the menu that doesn't need to be there. You're not going to Red Robin to eat healthy. You don't need a fucking kale wrap. Just make fucking good burgers and sell beer. They try to expand them, and TGI Fridays was just like, hey, are you and your loser coworkers going out for happy hour when you get done with that fucking shitty job that leaves you lifeless inside? Come on out. Have your fucking double-fisted margarita and, I don't know, some frozen mozzarella sticks. We'll heat them up for you.
Semi-fried, as I like to say.
Yeah.
It's the last time I was at a TGA Fridays was in Boise, Idaho. Get that. check your pockets for that one. And the reason I remember this is I was driving cross country with Brother Dewey Love, and this was our next to last stop before we made it to Oregon. And this was a long haul. We went from Cheyenne, Wyoming to Boise, Idaho. And we got to the room. The room refrigerator didn't work. And I think he was just antsy as it was, but a broken room refrigerator tipped him over his boiling point, and he went off and on. And I can't fucking believe this. What are we going to do with the beer? And I was like, dude, we have like 7 beers that we brought from Cheyenne, Wyoming. And probably 3 of those were brought from Iowa City, Iowa. So don't let's not get our panties in a bunch. And I blew up on him. I was like, either we get a new room or you fucking live with it. That's it. Those are our fucking choices right now, because you're not fixing it. I don't know how to fucking fix it. And he's like, all right. There's a TGI Fridays next door. I was like, all right, let's go there. And I got about a drink in, and the road, the length of the drive had gotten the better of me. And I got a drink down. I was like, hey man, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm starting to run out of steam. And he gave me the, nope. You're my wingman on this trip, bro. You better have some drinks. I said, all right, I'll pony up. I think I sucked down another 3 or 4 fat tires.
Yeah, God, that's the first time I've ever heard of a fox falling out early on a fucking beer night.
Well, I know, man, but we had gotten it in at Columbus, Ohio. We gotten it in at Iowa City, Iowa. We had gotten it in at Cheyenne, Wyoming, which is a fucking rundown town, on a Wednesday night. And yeah, but Boise, Idaho, TGI Friday. Not like, hey, I want to go back to the hotel and sleep, but hey, I want to go back and have some of those room temperature beers, from the comfort of the queen size bed, and just flip through what they have here on local TV. And he's just like, no, that's not happening. It's like, all right, fuck it. Well, when in Boise, Idaho, at a TGI Friday, let's do it.
So anything else interesting happening this week in your playbook?
Well, yeah, actually, 2 days ago, Sarah was going for it. So we're running a 10K on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
You go over the Bay Bridge, and then it's like a little bit of a trek out there. I think from the start line over the Bay Bridge, and just soon thereafter is the 5K. The 10K, you got to do a little more loop-de-loops, a little more of a track. But Sarah was doing her last, or either her last or next to last kind of prep run. It wasn't going to be a full 10K. It was just going to be something to keep loose and keep the juices flowing. And this was on Tuesday, and she was admiring how nice of a day it was, and looked up at the sky. And at that instant, there was a little bit of deviation in pavement, and she bit it. And I mean fucking bad. Face fucked up. Had a strawberry on her temple. Her nose got cut up. Had a nasty one on her shoulder, her right palm, her left knee. And half of it was hysteria of like, this hurts like hell, which I get. And half of it was hysteria about like, we're getting married in 2 months. What the fuck are we going to fucking do with these fucking pictures? It's like, relax. Your skin will heal. You're going to be in a pound of makeup. It'll be all right. And then as she was doing this, I sprayed her shoulder with
Bactine.
No, not Bactine. Hydrogen peroxide, and it was like a fucking exorcism happened in the bathroom. It was like if you were standing outside of the closed door, you thought Linda Blair was in there in the exorcism, like blah, 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 blah.
Wow, that's some good old fashioned Baltimore City fucking asphalt grime too, man. That's good stuff.
Yeah. And I did got the knee in the palm, and she But yeah, it was like, she said, mind you, it's election day. It was election day, and she had to walk back. I was on a work call, and she said I fell, and I said I'm on a work call. Do you want me to come and get you? And she didn't say anything, and she had to walk about 3 or 4 city blocks past what she said was roughly a dozen people with her face bleeding and her like sobbing, and it took her to walk past 20 people for finally someone to ask her, "Are you okay?" And she's like, that pissed her off. She got back. She's like, the humanity of these people. Why did anyone fucking wonder if I'm all right? Like, Christ's sake, I could have been bugged. I was like, well, that's a bit drastic, but all right. Yeah. And it's just like, I'm telling you, like, nose, cheek, or it's just some cut. She has a cut on the top of her ear. It's behind the lobe, so it's not really, it's not well seen, but I can already tell it's not healing well, but just from where it's at, it's one of those ones where it just constantly, like, I think the way she sleeps and wearing headphones for work, or like wearing earbuds, and her like touching her hair and stuff. But her temple, it looked like a childhood wrestling match where someone got put in the pulverizer and got their face dragged
of glass.
Someone's face got dragged across the carpet, and oh yeah.
Wow. That's I don't want to mock her too much, but good Lord.
No.
Like,
I know.
I just
and the funny thing is that we're running this 10K. I was like, "Are you going to be able to run?" She's like, "Well, if I can't run, I'm going to walk. I'm already paid. I'm already submitted. I'll make do." And I was all right. And we're running with, when I say running with, we're doing this with another couple, but we've all decided we're not doing this as a team. We're just going to like run at our own pace. But the other husband is wearing like a spousal abuse t-shirt. And she's like, "What do you think of that?" I was like, "I think that's really fun. That's just bad humor. I can't see why he would do that."
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
I know. It's like great. I held back my laughter. I was like, "Look at that. Why would he do such a thing? That's so bad. I can't believe he's going to do that."
Wow.
I would have to give him the old side wink, like, "Good work, buddy."
I don't know that I've ever injured myself that dramatically, like just doing things that would cause me to be injured that dramatically, besides run and look at the sky.
Well, like she said, like I said, Tuesday was, this week's been immaculate, albeit at the cost because we're in a drought. But Tuesday was unbelievable. It was a guy got up to like 80.
Yeah.
And she said, I looked up at the sky for literally 0.25 seconds. I was like, God, it is beautiful outside. It's like, yeah, man, that's what you get for admiring the beauty of this earth,
100%, baby. Made Mother Nature fuck you up. Don't get comfortable.
Yeah, and we've ran together, I would say hundreds of times, and I took a spill once, and it's just, I'm not saying I wasn't there, so I don't know exactly what she tripped over, and I haven't bothered to go back and have her quasi recreate the events. But I have taken a spill, and the worst I got was my palms, because I went down and
ladies don't know how to fall, dude.
Palm first into a ninja roll.
Yeah,
you do the little like that, and the back of my shoulder blade got a little dinged up, and I think say maybe like somewhere in my ankle got a little scratched up. And she's like, "Are you all right?" Yeah, I'm good. Look, we'll finish the run. She's like, "But your hands are all dirty," and I was like, "Don't worry about that, baby. It's
fine, baby.
I'll put some muck on these. Yeah. I'll put some muck on these."
That's right.
But you're right. Yeah, there's an art to recovery in that situation, and I'm not saying females don't have it, but in this case, didn't have it.
You're female, don't got it, that's for sure.
Yeah. Which is just like someone Kilby was asking me. He was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "Dude, she played 2 college sports. It's not lack of athleticism, or coordination. I don't know, man. She got hit in the back by a sniper."
Well, so I took William ice skating on Sunday, and mainly because this guy at work, his daughter was having a birthday party at the ice skating rink. I'm like, shit, man.
Delaware at that UD?
Yeah. And So like I'm like, fuck, man, I have not ice skated since high school. I will say I've rollerbladed more recently than I've ice skated. I'm like, apples, pears, it's close and similar. So I was like, all right, I wonder if I still got it. And I got out there. I was surprisingly better than I thought. Two things occurred. One, we weren't really like skating together. We were just in the same building together, me and this guy from work. And but I was skating around with him at one point, and I was like, you know what I'm realizing right now? He's like, what's that? I was like, there is nothing gayer than two dudes just ice skating together.
Yeah.
And then I went the whole time, 2 hours, never fell. But then, of course, 2 hours of amateurs out there cutting up the ice, and finally I hit a bad patch. Dude, thing is, I'm like, I think we know when we're going down. Maybe that's what it is. Again, no offense, ladies, but I feel like guys have just the nature of being a dude. Like, you get this like real quick sixth sense that like I'm eating shit. There's no saving this, and you instantly go into preventive maintenance mode. And I did. I was going down, so I went in and I tucked the shoulder. I didn't let my legs come flopping down. It was nice and smooth. I made it look like I almost planned it. And then I'm in a room full of people. So then I went into instant like baseball slide mode. And then when I got done, I went into like aristocrats, and then got a couple chuckles from people around me. Jumped up, even though my knee felt like it was going to explode, and my hip fucking felt like somebody beat it with a baseball bat, and my hands all like kind of like cut up from the ice going across it, and But again, no worse for wear. I'm here. I made it to work. I'm good to go.
Yeah. That's the last time I ice skated was at the Inner Harbor. They set up a small rink, probably like the third of the size of what you're talking about, like a legitimate ice skating rink, and it's all for holiday stuff. And it's just like, hey, spread the Yuletide cheer, get in the spirit, get into Christmas spirit, throw some roller skates on, throw some ice skates on. It's been the first time in a long time, and yeah, you can tell that they don't do. Like what they do for hockey matches, the hockey games where they flatten the ice out and get it nice and smooth for you. So people just skating on that fucker all day. And there was a couple times where no matter how graceful you are, if you hit one of those, what you say, rough patches, yeah, you better. Now I didn't fall, but there were a couple times where I did the quasi throw your back out in an attempt to try to save yourself. So, but yeah, other than that, rollerblading versus ice skating, it's almost like you're doing it on planks of wood with no ankle support. You have those things tied tight, but I felt like rollerblading was almost a cohesive type thing, whereas ice skating, it no matter how tight you tie those puppies, you're at the mercy of a little bit of gravity and it's just a few other things that just aren't natural to you.
It's the ankles, man. Like, I don't know. I will say that the ice skate technology has drastically increased in the last like 25 plus years since I did it last. They don't have that fucking chopped up nose on the blade anymore, so you don't fucking accidentally stop yourself mid slide, and so that's good. And they're hockey skates now. They're not just giving you like regular ass leather boots with a blade of steel on the bottom of it. So yeah, so that was fine. But I just feel like rollerblades, you obviously have a little bit more surface area with the wheels, so you got a little more stability going on. But no, man, I got up towards the end, like I said, and this is probably why I ate shit. As I was like, fuck it, I'm going. I'm Apollo Ono in this motherfucker for the last couple laps.
Yeah.
And I was rolling. I got the good step over cross like turn thing going on, and yeah, and then but I did see some amateur figure skaters out there, and they were moving so slow, and I'm just like, really? And so I tried while no one was looking a couple of the things that they were doing. That shit's hard. Like lifting up to get one leg, like even no matter what speed you're going, to get that to actively balance yourself on the blade on one foot. I'm like, Jesus, this actually is a feat of athleticism.
It is a skill. It is a skill. See, you brought up Apollo Ono. That's like the speed course. There is the speed skating where it's it's one versus one. It's a little bit longer, and they'll change lanes every now and then.
Yeah.
I was always fascinated when they get into their groove, they put the one hand behind their back.
Yeah.
You know, but it's also, it's like those guys and girls with the fucking quads that could just wreck your shit in anything athletic that you could ever imagine. You know, they almost had to like have a teammate help them into those rubber suits. Like, woo, boop. Okay, there it is. Got it.
Anything else good this week? Anything notable happen or occur?
Well, let's see. We got we're gonna have
TGI Fridays. We got Sarah eating shit. Got me ice skating for the first time. Anything we're missing here?
Let's see. I don't know. Oh, yep. There's gonna be a new president in 2 months.
Oh boy, a new president of an old president, motherfucker, dude.
This is the second time in history, right? I think there was
Grover Cleveland, man. That was
Cleveland, yeah.
And old Donnie. And could you have done it any other way? Could the Trump story? Okay, let's just take all the emotional attachment to the guy. Is this not one of the greatest political comebacks of all fucking time? For someone to go through what he went through, what 2-time? We should really set this up. Get a nice fucking Michael Buffer intro for the guy. Twice impeached, 3-time indicted, blah blah blah. Like, you're 45th and now 47th president of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
And then have him just do the point. Yeah. Surprising, very surprised. There were, and we talked about this before I hit the record button about I didn't get into specifics. I just said things that I was surprised by. Watching it, it got to a point where I was like, hey, you know, she's going to get California and that'll level the playing field. And then we'll kind of start getting down to the nitty gritty. He's got a lead. It's going to be a lot closer than I thought, but we'll see what happens. And then it got to a point where I was like, she's going to have to almost win 7 or 8 of these last 9 or 10 open states that are still, you know, too close to call to win this thing. And I was like, holy surprising. Obviously the Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania sweep that you know, surprising to some, but what in my opinion, won him the election. The swing, not the majority, but the swing in Latino male vote that turned into things. Also, the popular vote. My thought was if he won, it was going to be like 2016 all over, where he'll win the Electoral College. He'll lose the popular vote, but it's not a landslide, but 5.5 million? I know there's still some votes coming in. That's significant. And I was surprised by just the lack of overall voting. I mean, this was significantly down from 2020 in terms of just numbers of people who voted. And I talked to, I want to know why. I'm curious. I want to see the people who, you know, who dissect these things and then put this into, you know, data. What the hell happened?
All right, I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on for you because too, when I saw, if you go back, there's a chart floating around the old X these days, and it's like when Obama, okay, so it's like the Obama election against Romney, then it's Trump Clinton, then it's Trump Biden, and it's 65 million votes seems to be the cap on what the winning president from the Democrat Party gets, except for in 2020, where he got 81 million votes. And so the big question,
but also but Trump got like what 71, 72
which is what he got,
like
but he also got that this time.
Yeah.
So the big question then is starting to become like, if this has been advertised as the most pivotal election of a lifetime, and you know everybody's got to stop Trump, he's trying to make that comeback, blah 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 blah. Where did 20 million votes go? Like, and this is also on the heels of Trump screaming at the sky, like they stole it, they rigged it, blah 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 blah. You know, it's not going to get looked into. It's not going to get looked into because one, the Republicans desperately need to put that behind them. He won. He can't win again. Just stop it. You know, as our current vice president might say, turn the page. Time to turn the page on that fucking storyline because it doesn't get you anywhere now. But the reason it's not going to get looked into is because if they look into it and they do see that there was something squirrely going on and 20 million votes did appear out of nowhere 4 years ago, we turn the page back. And then you have him fucking saying, like, I told you. So the point is if you look back, either because of the mail-in ballots, people found it that much easier to vote, so that many more people did just scribble something out on their fucking dining room table and mail it.
The COVID made it a little easier to, yeah, I got you, yeah. Although it's not hard to do the mail-in vote, regardless of pandemic or not.
Here's the difference, since I do have some insider knowledge on how that worked 4 years ago, considering I delivered all those fucking mountains of fucking ballots. In COVID, if your name was registered, you automatically got a mail-in ballot for the COVID year for 2020. Yeah. Like, you didn't ask for it. Now, if under current rules and the way it was before, if you want a mail-in ballot, you have to actively request it. When you get the sample ballot in the mail, it's like, if you'd like a mail-in ballot, please fill out the bottom of this form. You fill in the bottom of the form, you mail that in, they mail you a ballot, you sign it, you fill it out, you mail it back in. See, back during COVID, though, they sent them to everyone, and then you could make the decision whether you mailed it back or just went live and in person. So, but I will say, and this is what I do try to explain to people who say there's no way they cheated or whatever. I'm just saying, I know that the Board of Elections does not change your address for you. So if you registered to vote in Maryland, right, Wes, and then you move, and you've been gone for 5 years, but you never told the Maryland State Board of Elections that you moved, they are still going to mail a ballot to your old address because you never changed your address with the Board of Elections. Ain't nobody moving, changing their fucking address with the Board of Elections. It's not happening. So let's just say there were a lot of extra ballots delivered to addresses, and those people did not live there. And the people who live there could either give them back because they're honest and we want a fair, open, and honest election, or they threw them away, which is illegal, or they did something squirrely with them. And so that's I'm just saying, those are the potential realities that could have occurred 4 years ago. But it doesn't matter. We've turned the page. Donald Trump fucking pulled off. Look, bottom line is this. I was trying to figure out how to articulate this, and then Dave Smith was on Rogan, so I do want to give credit where credit's due. He was just talking about the caliber of the candidates, right? We know who Donald Trump is, blah, blah, blah. J.D. Vance was a great pick for vice president. You can hate the guy if you want, but you can't argue that he's not an intelligent speaker. You can't argue that he doesn't command intellectual respect when he speaks. You don't have to agree with his answer, but you can tell he's formulated a solid political opinion on a subject when he's asked the question and he gives a response. But then you look at Tim Walz. The guy, claimed he was a head football coach. He was an assistant coach at a high school. He made all those claims about his military service. Not saying stolen valor or anything, but let's just say he exaggerated his rank. He exaggerated how he served, where he served. Then you get to, the Tiananmen Square thing. He said his wife had in vitro. She said she didn't. He lied a lot, like unnecessarily, or fabricated or stretched truths unnecessarily. Even called himself a knucklehead. Sometimes I'm just a knucklehead. When you look at vice presidential picks, when Obama picked Biden, he picked someone who would not outshine him. Joe Biden was not like a world-renowned fucking legislator.
He's a long-time Delaware senator.
I'm just saying he wasn't lauded as like this great fucking mind of the United States Senate. So Obama picked an old white guy who wouldn't outshine him, but was a solid pick. He'd been in Washington forever. And
hold on. Like I get what you're saying, but Obama probably could have picked a fucking bag of potatoes.
You're right.
Probably,
But Obama was the star, and he didn't want to pick someone who could even potentially outshine him in any capacity. I mean, that's just a wise choice if you are a, prominent personality. And then you get to Biden picking someone who's not going to outshine him, and he picks Kamala Harris. Again, he picked her for reasons that I don't want to get into because they could blah, blah, blah. And then she ends up becoming the nominee. So you've got lackluster star, then she's got to pick somebody who's a lackluster star in comparison to her. I'm just saying, you keep Xerox in the same sheet of paper, and it's just not going to be as bold when you get
Yeah.
to the finished product. And the bottom line is this too. She never answered a question.
Mhm.
She never explained. I don't mind that she flip-flopped her stance on some things, but then she didn't explain the flip-flop.
Yeah, you know, I have to give credit. You gave credit where credit to. I have to give credit where credit's due with Chris Christie yesterday, who was explaining. He said, I just don't think Biden gave her enough time, and the administration and her staff enough time to actually formulate, you know, a campaign. Biden held on and held on and held on. It wasn't until after that first debate where he more or less sabotaged himself and then said, yeah, they gave him no choice. He's like, all right, I'm done. And then she has what, 90 days ish to steamroll. And the party has no choice. I mean, they can't go with someone else because then they had to give back all the money. And by that point, you have to push your chips all in, and that's fine. But if that's the choice he was going to make, he should have made that a year ago.
Well, here's why I'll argue against that point, though, because she fell apart at the end. She started to kind of fall apart a little bit. Like, Trump started to gain ground with about 2 weeks to go. And then you got to that last week, and she just had no steam left in the tank. And I actually think she had too much time to campaign. If you had taken away that last 2 weeks, game over. She won. I'm not saying by a landslide, but game over. She would have walked all over Trump if it was 2 weeks earlier. If the election were held on October 27th, she fucking nails it. But no, Trump did. Plus Elon got involved, and they went on a steamroller campaign of like, you're going to do every 3-hour podcast that exists. JD Vance is going to come right on your heels and do the same one, same host, do it all himself as well. Tim Walz, like, they just fucking put that guy in a closet somewhere and just like, shut the fuck up for 5 minutes, could you? Stop dancing, stop throwing your leg kicks, just shut up for a minute, let her handle this.
Stop doing your Mark Madsen dance a la the Lakers celebration from 2000.
And then, you know, the Rogan, honestly, I don't even think Trump speaking on Rogan had anything to do with it. I think the fact that Trump showed up to Rogan and she basically refused is really what cost her this whole thing, because she's the one that planted the seed, and Joe said, yeah, if you want to come on the show, you're invited, come on in. And then she dug her feet, and then Trump was like, let me do it, I'll come on, I'll sit down for 3 hours. And then he did. And again, I didn't think his performance on Rogan was anything to fucking write home about, but it was 3 hours and he was there.
But the fact he did it and she didn't, I got you.
And but not even that. Then the fact that she said, well, I'll do it, but I need you to come to me and only for 45 minutes, which killed the whole thing. It's like,
that's how he plays, man.
That's exactly what he said. He said, I don't think that's fair because, like, you know how Rogan's all woo woo. He's like, this room has an energy, man. You know, like, it's just. It would be. I wouldn't be the same if I weren't in this room. I also don't think it's fair because you don't learn anything about anybody on his show until hour 2 or 3.
No. Well, hey, it's his show. I mean, it's not Joe Rogan podcast live from wherever else. It's it's the Joe Rogan experience is in a contained environment. So man, I just like. I was surprised. I wasn't shocked by what happened, but in the same token, it's just I have some friends who are liberal who very liberal who were just absolutely floored, and I never said anything to them, but I was like, I'm not. I knew this was going to be close. And it was, was it 292 to 220-ish? You figure a couple states here and there, whether or not you agree or disagree with the Electoral College. But, I mean...
Well, it's going to end up being 311 to, I don't know what...
Oh, yeah. There's a couple others. But, yeah, man. What I was most shocked about was the swing in Latin male vote. And he didn't win the majority of it, but, like, the percentages that went his way in this election... Again, I want to see the reasoning. I want to see, have 1,000 of them give their this is why I did what I did, and that has been a stronghold of the left for a long, long time. Not only the minority vote, but Latin vote. And
I'll give you my quick breakdown, at least on that demographic, is that they are they know where their bread's buttered. They've known where their bread's buttered for a long time. Most of the people that are voting from that community are in fact citizens. Otherwise, they couldn't vote. So, in order to do that, they had to take a lot of steps that were difficult to become Americans because they wanted that dream for themselves. And now they've been witnessing a lot of shortcuts for people who, maybe they don't think deserve it as much as they earned it for themselves. And if now they've seen people just walking across the border, like tapping into an app to schedule their, free appointment to come in and then also get free services when they get here. And I would imagine that rubs you the wrong way a little bit, because the lie that gets told is that like, oh, conservatives and Republicans hate the minority communities. No, we don't. We do not. We want fairness. That's it. We just want it to be fair. And sometimes, sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes,
and money. That's okay.
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
Yes. But you got to, again, it's not like you got to pay your fair share. But I mean, when I say,
well, you do,
but you need to earn your spot. I guess the point would be is like you need to have a little bit of a skin in the American game if you want to be an American. Like you should be grateful to the opportunity that you receive when you get here. And I just don't know that a lot of the people that have come across the border over the last, 3-4 years, I don't think I don't know. You don't appreciate it when it's handed to you. It's kind of like the Nepo baby syndrome, right? Like you're born into a wealthy family. You don't respect money like someone who had to earn it in their life. And I'd say that the people in the Latin community, the Hispanic community that had to earn the right to be in the voting booth, probably it's sour grapes for them to see a lot of these people getting the kind of the hand up that they did not receive for doing things the proper way. I think that has a little something to do with it. I also think like a lot of the wokeness they don't necessarily appreciate. A lot of the, when they started calling like the Latinx community, they don't call themselves Latinx. There's a lot to it, but I definitely think they fit. I definitely think they're not a dumb community, and I think they felt like they were being pandered to, and Donald Trump wasn't pandering to them. Can't say the guy who's threatening to deport like 10 million people is pandering to your community. You'd have to say he's definitely barking at a group of people that he doesn't think earn their right to be here. And hey, man, if that community agrees with it, then you get to be president of the United fucking States.
Yeah, man. You're not like, I mean, I say you're right to vote. That's your voice. And I like, I'm trying to think of where I was going with this. Yes, people do walk into a voting booth blind and just like, this is it, do going down. But in particular, that demographic and that shift, and I think it was like 44% of Latin men voted for Trump, which I think in 2020 was about 10% less than that. And that's a jump, man. That's not something that bat an eye at. And I don't know if that won him. I mean, I dare I say, I think it may have helped Pennsylvania, especially, which is what, like 25, 26 electoral college votes. So it's interesting to me. It's interesting. I'm not saying I have to like it to want to understand it. Let me just get that across.
I would also say this as far as that community is concerned, like, we'll just use the stereotypical notion that like landscaping, construction, very hard manual labor jobs. And then you've been here for a while. You've earned yourself a nice fat paycheck for your family that you deserve. And then all of a sudden, there's an influx of very cheap labor coming across. Mm-hmm. So your wage isn't going to go up. In fact, you may not get some jobs because there's a whole gaggle of other folks that are going to come in and undercut your price by maybe 50%. Like, that's going to look, man, people vote with their pocketbook, period. Shit has cost more money, period, over the last several years. And you can make all the claims as to why that is or why it won't work moving forward to change it. And but I just think the main factor is people in this country are paying $7 for butter when it was $3, $3.50, $4, 4 years ago. I mean, that's one product. Stretch that out across. You want that to change. The person who said that they could fix it for you, that's already been there, that's a part of the issue, Like, I mean, come on, it's not fucking rocket
Yeah.
science. If you can get past the media calling one guy a fascist, Hitler, Nazi dictator,
Okay.
then you're probably going to say, but he's not. If Nazi, fascist, Hitler, dictator gets me fucking $3 eggs.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's it. So does he tear down the Department of Homeland Security and Education? Does he deconstruct those?
I don't think I think there's going to be some significant cuts to
Okay.
all departments, all bureaucracies. Look, if he does put Elon Musk.
Does he repeal Affordable Health Care Act? Does he do away with that?
I think yes. I think that's I do. I think that'll happen. I think that'll happen. I'm not
I
sure.
hope he doesn't, but that's me. I'm
But again, I don't want to get in the weeds on this, on like absolute specific departments. But one of the key things he ran on was like putting Elon at least at the helm of a government efficiency agency. When was the last time the government audited itself to go through and see which of its like 450 plus bureaucracies like are doing their jobs appropriately, or which ones can be merged together?
They do, but it takes so long. It takes years. It takes ages. Yeah. The audit is obsolete by the time the audit's ended. At least the way I understand it. I get what you're saying. That's just me working with government agencies and how slow they move. There's some small things, and there's some anecdotal things that I know that dear friends of mine have skin in the game. For instance, a friend of ours who is a lifelong diabetic, who's going to have to pay out of pocket for insulin if the Affordable Health Care Act gets resolved, and he's a 1099, and that's going to be, I don't know, like 25, 30 grand for him to live. And that's one story. I'm not
right.
I
know. It doesn't listen. I don't think they're going to come in there with a fucking chainsaw and dismantle everything. And again, I don't know.
Just like a pruner, like a chainsaw, like a little pruner.
Honestly, though, but if you're able to get these agencies down to where you're like saving money, then you can fix things to where if things are not running efficiently, I guess is the point. And okay, here's an example. Elon said he can now build a rocket and ready it to launch faster than he can get the permit approved for the launch.
Okay. Yeah.
I would imagine.
I understand.
I would imagine building one of the most sophisticated intercontinental ballistic missiles of all time that returns itself to Earth and catches itself in midair is a pretty fucking time-consuming feat. I imagine signing and stamping some paperwork, probably a little easier.
Don, you got to go through like 6 or 7 forms of litigation, bro. You got to get.
And that's the point, is if you can cut down all of that manpower it takes to sign some documents and just have some folks give it the onesies and the twosies. And I'm not saying be flippant with it, like, but he also explained
I read it. I didn't read it.
One of the funnier things he talked about was before he could splash down.
Hold on. So I'm thinking about like, I read it and I gave my stamp of approval, and then a month later that person's on trial. Like, sir, did you read it? I thumbed through it.
I licked my thumb. I flipped the pages.
Did the first sentence of every paragraph. That's all you need to go. That's what the meat and potatoes are, right?
Who reads the amendments to these things? Like, why would you do that?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, like, as a project manager for a government agency, we get contracts that are like sometimes 90 pages long. Okay. And our job is to read them. I don't read the whole thing because like 60 pages of them are bylaws from God knows when, that workplace safety and things like that. That it's like, okay, I get it, I understand. And I said it on the podcast, and now it's in infamy, and someone could audit me. But I get it. I get it.
Yeah. But one of the other things he said too was that Elon was talking about when he's going to splash the Starship had to splash down into the ocean, and in order to do that, he had to do an independent study to see if he would hit any whales.
Well, they're in the ocean. Why is it whales? Why can't it be fish? Why can't
Oh,
it be dolphins, sharks?
well, funny enough, when he completed his whale study and concluded that there would be a 0.000015% chance of hitting
Yeah.
any specific whale in the
Yeah. I'm sure.
ocean,
I'm sure they do the same for ocean liners.
they
I'm sure when you're carrying your fucking Audi from Europe to America. Like, hey, did you do the whale study? Like, no.
well, as soon as he got done the whale study, they did present him with the shark study, and he's like, "Motherfucker, why couldn't you give this to me at the same time?" So yeah,
I will take all marine mammals and fish into account in this fucking study.
yes.
Yes, some bass will die.
And by the way,
Sorry.
one of the most ridiculous things that I've ever heard Trump say, which apparently is true, did you know that the windmills, the giant fucking white windmills that they put out in the ocean, are killing whales because the vibration of the windmill as it spins tricks the whale, it fucks their brain up because they communicate with vibration.
Ah,
So it's
Christ.
driving them absolutely nuts. So you've got Elon trying to figure out if his fucking, I don't know, half-story tall starship is going to hit a fucking third-story tall fucking whale. And then you put this fucking windmill up with no study about how it's going to affect their communication or brains.
Yeah. And then someone's thumbing through it and goes like, I don't see manatees in here. They get hacked up all the time. God damn it. Find me a manatee that isn't cut to shreds. What'd you say? Sorry, guys. That was me. My bad.
I ran into it. I should have been paying attention. I was just looking up at the sky, admiring this amazing day.
Florida's incredible. I love it. Ah, fuck. Gonna need some peroxide.
78 in November. Oh, what a world.
Middle class holes, everyone. Murr and Fox, man. Alan is at the Ravens game. I just tuned in. Ravens cut it to 21-14. They cut the lead down to 7. So he's enjoying himself, probably screaming his little Allen lungs out. And tomorrow, if we were to talk to him tomorrow, I'd be like, hey guys, like every Ravens game I've ever been to.
Wait, who's winning?
The Bengals are up 21-14.
I can't win a bet anymore. It's just
Hey
fucking
man, it's
stupid.
the third quarter.
Yeah,
Got
well,
some
I had
time.
race to 20. Who was going to get the 20 points first? And I had
Oh
race to
yeah,
20 first. Yeah.
They just can't seem to cover that guy named Jamar Chase. I mean, there was one time, I think it was like the 7 or 8 years ago when they had AJ Green. I was actually at the game where he just torched them for I think 201 yards, receiving 2 touchdowns, and John Harbaugh was like, I don't know, maybe one day we'll figure out how to cover that guy. It's like, you think? You fucking think?
Aren't you paid to do that on a weekly basis?
Yeah, supernatural talents, man. If the Rockets going to touch down, you covered all the mammals, all the fish, but you didn't cover Jamar Chase.
Yes. Or AJ Green. And by the way, how about that Saquon Barkley fucking catch and
Oh
run?
my, dude. There's like, I would say once every 3 or 4 years, an NFL athlete does something like the Beckham catch. You know, that one-handed catch back, like, was it 2014, 2015. And then there's a couple others that come to mind, but that's one where you need to put that into some sort of capsule and show people that, listen, there's levels to this, and you don't have it. Yeah, maybe like aspiring high school athletes. Like, I'm going to be a pro football player. Like, all right, right here, this is probably what you don't have, kid.
Well, that's not fair, but yes, I agree. But yes. But I mean, even
It was
people,
ridiculous. Insane. Absolutely insane.
I think what was insane about it is a lot of times sometimes those things happen. I would like to, I'd say in Mr. Barkley's mind, that was a natural occurrence. Well, that's just the way the play was playing out. I just reacted to the play. No, I mean, if I've watched it like 30 times, like that jump, even though it's backwards, like it was preordained. He thought about it. He saw what was coming, and kind of in the midst of a spin move, you can tell in that moment if there's a flow state that actually exists in the brain, the world was operating at 1/4 speed because he just
Yeah.
pivots and just whoop, does a little fucking leg spread. Homeboy goes flying between. And to watch the Eagles sideline when that happens, oh my God.
Dude, it's gonna be one of two things. They're gonna play that a lot at the Eagles, film session. Or who are they playing? Was it the Giants?
Who cares?
Yeah, I think that guy's gonna get fucking torched. It's like, hey, watch this, bloop, watch this, bloop, oh man, watch this, one more time, bloop, idiot.
Yeah. This isn't somebody. This isn't like Jordan like jumping over someone. I mean, even though that's God, how many people are embarrassed daily by a poster that still exists?
Right.
But like, you can't even. Like, I'd be like, yeah, I fucking missed him. Every NFL player that exists today through the entire past of all football played would not have tackled him on that play based on his performance.
Now you could line up and get in an interview session the greats of the greats from the 70s all the way up to guys who, retired a handful of years ago who are destined to be Hall of Famers. Then it'd be like, yeah, I'd have missed that. I ain't tackling that shit.
Even Ray Lewis would just be like, God, I'm glad I'm retired because fuck that shit.
That's right. All right. We're going to get to a friend or foe, and it has to do with a very hard-hitting study known as luggage. Samsonite. I was way off.
Thank you, Mr. Christmas. Yes, this friend or foe is going to have to do with advertising. Good advertising or bad advertising. Samsonite launched a suitcase into space, then dropped it to prove that it was as durable as they say it is. Luggage maker Samsonite shot a piece of luggage up to 130,000 feet to test its durability. And not only did the pricey roller pass its test with flying colors, the whole stunt was caught on video. The Proxys Global Carry-On Spinner, which currently retails for $425, was catapulted towards space before descending to Earth when it crash-landed in spectacular fashion. Yada, yada, yada. They keep repeating themselves. After enduring temperatures as low as minus 85 degrees, the suitcase was able to descend from the stratosphere at controlled speeds thanks to a self-deployed parachute system. I watched the video. They put her on a weather balloon. They send it up. They release it. It's coming down. It's spinning. It's like an old Felix Baumgartner just hurtling through the sky. And then suddenly it's, whew, like, well, what the fuck is that? And then I'm not saying it's coming down slow, but it's definitely coming down with the assistance of a onboard parachute system. It hits the ground, it topples a little bit, and they're all hooting and hollering, they've survived. So, I guess my point is, if you're going to send something to space and claim it survived the fall, should you be disqualified if you attach some sort of system that slows it down? So is this good advertising? Friend, yes! They sent it to space, for God's sake. It fell from the stratosphere. Of course it's great advertising. Or foe, no. You could have dropped it from any height. If it's being assisted by something that slows it down, it is not impressive at all. Wes?
Man, here's the thing. So I have 3 pieces of travel luggage. Okay. I have a check-in, larger roller. All right. I have a duffel bag that I use for most trips, especially like car, weekend. Occasionally I'll take it if I'm going on a plane and knowing it's going to be, real quick, weekend, hitter here, there. And then I have a roller check-on, something that I specifically bought, measured, that I don't have to check in, that I can bring on to the plane with me. But the way travel has gotten, more often than not, I get to the door and they're like, yeah, we're all full. You're gonna have to check that in. I'm like, all right, whatever. But I bypass that option. Not gonna lie to you, it's a shitty Amazon blue thing. I think I bought it for $50. It's fine. I don't get on a plane that often, probably 4 or 5 times a year. When you sent me this, I was like, yeah, I'm going to check the specs on this Samsonite. I'm going to look up the model number and see what I can get, maybe either used or whatever, assuming that they hoisted it into space and then dropped it. Again, we talked about it. It landed, and I was like, "Damn, the wheels survived! Holy shit! Look at that! Those little plastic fucking dingy ass wheels it's still rolling." And then when you told me it was via the assistance of a parachute, it took some wind out of my parachute, for lack of a better term. I mean, I will say, friend, I do think it's good advertising. You could use this in an ad, and then are people going to stop buying Samsonite? I doubt it, unless they do something drastically stupid. It's the name brand of luggage. It's the Cadillac of packaging for you and I and anyone else who's traveling. But so I will say, friend, but man, I got a phony aftertaste, because when I read this, I thought they cut the ties and that puppy dropped at terminal velocity and landed in the desert of Arizona or Nevada or God knows where, and came out with a couple of things. And I, again, can't iterate this up. I was looking it up. I was like, what model number is this? What is this? They have a carry-on? There's one. I'll throw that fucking Amazon right. I'll throw it in the backyard. I'll burn that puppy. I'll burn that plastic. I don't care. So, friend, good advertising, but it's deceivious. It's a bit. I don't know. They put some cloak over your eye.
Yeah. See, I gotta go faux. I go faux with a friendly aftertaste. How's that? So, like, I like that they got out and they sent it up to space. But the thing is like, by putting the parachute on there, they knew that the survivability of it just wasn't a thing. So they
but like, okay, like you send it into space. What's the expectation? This thing is going to spontaneously combust because it's reaching ridiculously cold temperatures.
Well. I mean, if they said it was that was part of the test, that it had to, like, it was cold, it was cold cured, which would have made it more brittle and fragile. But then again, I'm not a scientist. I don't know how fast they slowed it down to. Terminal velocity is like 220 or something, like 220 miles an hour. So, like, I get it. I believe me, I would buy the entire fleet, the entire line, if it could survive free falling with no assistance. Like, boom, you just sold your stock price just tripled.
Hey, even if the fucker is not usable after it fell,
but it's still rather
the contents inside are still safe. Okay, awesome. Sign me up.
Yeah, because I don't expect it to fall from the plane.
That's the least of my worries after a plane crash.
I just want my laptop to not have a crack through the screen when Hector hoists it fucking 30 feet from the fucking roller when he gets it off. That's all I'm expecting here. So for me, if they had dropped it from the top of an elementary school, to me, that's almost more impressive.
Yeah, that hits home for you, by the way.
Yes, it does.
I mean,
hey, man, I mean, I should be in a Samsonite commercial. My spine should be on some fucking Guinness Book of World Records, to be honest with you. But no, I mean, for me, like, either drop it from a more than reasonable height and have it completely survive, like, in just real world situation. But when you start attaching all of these, like, well, and then have a parachute on it, because at that point, you could have dropped it from any height and it doesn't matter. So now you've just cut the whole, allure of sending it to space out of the entire picture. Now I'm mad at you for putting, like, restrictions on how fast it was falling, because to me, the point in sending it to space was like, look how high we can drop this motherfucker from, and it survives. So for me, it's bad advertising for this fucking thing. And I think a point that you inadvertently brought up is that nobody really gives a shit how dented or cracked the actual casing is. People only really give a shit about the wheels, which means you could cut about $250 off the price of this case. As long as you just beef up those wheels. So when you hit that fucking piece of fucking marble that's been hacked up in, like, LaGuardia from years of fucking infants banging their rattle against the floor, you don't fucking end up with a wheel that's when you're trying to get the terminal C.
which you'll deal with for another year, depending upon your budget. And then, I mean, that I remember a time when there weren't wheels, and I remember the transition where they just put wheels on straight up luggage. And I'm talking about like what, the 3.5 foot wide and the 2 foot tall. How can I explain this? They weren't duffel bags. I mean, trying to explain for the younger listeners, luggage of the day.
Dude, luggage of the day was a rectangle, and
Yeah.
by the time and it was about the size of a coffee table,
Yeah.
and it was about a foot
And then
wide.
And then
And then
someone was like, "Yeah, we should put wheels on this," which people were just like bending kind of quasi over with the handle, like to make it
Dude.
to make it more mobile.
we didn't take very many trips in my youth, but I can remember my dad, trying to keep as little luggage as possible, and filled up one of those big fuckers, and then everybody had like a smaller one. But I remember him trying to lug that fucker, and you got to think too, like think about a farmer's carry where you've got like 80 to 100 pounds in one arm, and nothing to balance it out in the other arm. And I can remember him just like taking like 40 steps in the airport and just like, hold on, give me a second, switching arms, going another 40 paces, hold on, all right, let's go. Like people today, people that are like, I'm gonna say 30 and under, do not understand the struggle of full-size luggage, no wheels, because now they're like boxes, they're like small refrigerators, which is a better. The design of luggage has changed drastically. Marie and I got our first real luggage to go to Disney, and I'm going from like the last set of luggage before that I had was from probably like 1996. It had 2 wheels on it. They did not swivel. They were in the back. You could only roll it by leaning it, at like a 45-degree angle towards you. And then, of course, it gets all wonky and wobbly and starts doing the chop, where you have to stop, wait for the wheels to settle, start moving again. I could not believe, like 4 wheels, like one in each corner. You don't have to pick it up.
Almost weightless too.
And Dude, I was doing shit. I was doing like I was in the Rockettes, fucking going through. Look at this, one finger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I purposely a couple times, like with the handle outstretched, would spin it while I was walking through. Yeah, I understand. I think about like this coffee table thing that you were talking about, because again, all it was a single strap at the top of it to navigate it, and then the ingenuity was like, yeah, we'll throw some wheels on it, and that helped a little. But man, people had back problems, just gonna lean into one side, like woo, woo.
But the original wheels that they put on those things were like literally the diameter of a fucking silver dollar.
Yeah.
And didn't do. And then you get to a carpeted airport, and just,
yeah.
it's like, no, you've just like if it wasn't like slabs of like some kind of like marble or like whatever, like an elementary school floor, like as soon as you hit carpet, it was just like no.
So I might as well hit a rock.
Oh, God.
Ooh, that's what Samsonite should have done. Like, ooh, like a rock.
Here you go. So let me ask you this then. Would you be more impressed then? Okay, are you more impressed by the fall, a suitcase that's able to survive like the rough and tumble of things, or by the agility of the wheels?
Rough and tumble or agility of the wheels? You can't have. So I mean,
if you can't have both,
yeah.
you gotta. Okay, you might end up with some dents and some scuffs and some some trauma to the shell. Or would you rather worry about the maneuverability?
You got to go with the wheels. You got to go with the maneuverability. You got to be able to not look like a jackass while you're, navigating an airport, a busy one, let alone.
I genuinely think if there's a competing luggage company out there and they did an ad where it's like, we didn't drop ours from space, but we took it through some pea gravel in my backyard. It didn't fail. And this is the guy fucking like dancing, like, pirouetting, doing the one finger thing, and it's in the grass. some fucking
Right.
like some loose dirt, and it's just swiveling around and wheeling. I guarantee you're tripling your fucking sales overnight.
Yeah, yeah.
Samsonite, some guy at Samsonite's fucking like firing like 3 board members, kicking a CEO out of a fucking board meeting. The fuck
My,
approve this.
my
70
name is Samsonite. God damn it! It's not, but someone was. Yeah. And you know, God forbid you get a grain of sand or a little pebble in one of those fuckers. And just got and then you're fishing it out, just picking it up and down and stomping it on the ground 4 or 5 times in a row. Never gets it out. No, you got to go with the wheels. Got to go with that.
Yeah.
Some quality on that end. Yeah, take a couple dings, couple dents, couple scuffs, maybe some chip paint. Sure, that's all right.
Dude, you get Tony Hawk in there. Like, we had Tony Hawk pick the best bearings he's ever used on a roller skate.
World class roller skater, Tony Hawk.
That's right.
They made 3 Sony games after him.
Skateboard, sorry.
You're doing too much Sam Elliott. That's the issue.
Yeah, that's what happened. I apologize.
All right. Well, it's a little bit of friend, but with some faux aftertaste and vice versa, and that's fine. That's if you folks. I mean, it's worth the watch. It's a cool video product.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. And this is another one of those things where things have become so watered down. Like, we've seen so much shit fall from space now. I'm like, all right.
Right. Yeah, that's a good. That is a good point.
You know, I did watch like I don't know what it was. It was just like I don't know. It was a long TikTok video, but it was Felix Baumgartner, the guy I referenced earlier that jumped from space for Red Bull.
Red Bull, yeah.
Oh my God! To watch the recap of that again, that dude, just fucking his balls were fucking weighing him down. That motherfucker.
Well, they were frosty, so I mean, they gained some weight as he went up. But the climb, the jump's one thing, but you're sitting there in this balloon and just gets to a point where, like, how high am I? Oh, I don't even want to tell you. I don't want to let you know. You might freak out.
But him recapping it, and now he's probably like in his 50s now, and still looks like he could probably do it today. But him just going through the regimen of like what it took to get up there, like what was going through his mind, how he had to psych himself into it, and then like knowing that. And to think about this, like how far you're falling, but knowing how you exit that craft that he was in is going to affect, like, because he did go into a fucking death spiral at one point. So he did not. So just that you're off by like a half a centimeter, like leaning left as you fall forward in your 80-pound pressurized suit might be the thing that kills you. Like, it's just wild, just balls of steel, amazing.
Who was the guy a couple years ago who did the no parachute into
boxes? Oh yeah, into the net. I'm not sure who that was, but again, yeah, just that one's wild because he hits. I mean, he hits with plenty of room. But he does hit the edge, what I would call, in my world, the edge of the net. It wasn't like a dead center strike. But, yeah, man, somebody else did that in a wingsuit into like a big old like thing of boxes, like cardboard.
Oh, I missed that.
That one's wild, too. But, I mean, at least with that, you got a little more control because you can kind of, figure out which way you're going. I also saw a guy who, he's got the world record for longest wingsuit flight, but he put like one of those little the foils, they got the surfboard with like the little foil wing on the bottom of it, and they just kind of hop up and down.
Yeah.
Some guy strapped something similar to that to his chest and jumped with a wingsuit and flew for like 15 miles. It's just wild, dude. Like the shit we're able to do now is absolutely incredible.
Well, it's not only the shit you get to do; it's the nut jobs who are willing to push the envelope on it time and time again. So
that's true too.
And God bless them. I'm not saying it's they make a lot of money doing it, but
and that's why we need less paperwork. You think the Wright brothers went to the Kitty Hawk City fucking council meeting or like, we'd like to take this big rickety fucking bucket of fucking wood and tarp and go fly this fucking machine across your fucking beach? No. They just did it.
It's, and they apprehended a young man who was walking by to take photos to document it.
The first picture I ever took, and he fucking nailed it because that's America. God damn it.
By the way, Ravens are up 35-28.
That was quick. All right.
We got some facts.
We do. Let's get to it. Let's get to your Fun Fact Friday. OMG Facts. Brought to you, of course, by our good friend, The Cuckster. You can find him on Instagram. Soon, you can also find him on TikTok. But for now, go to the old IG Cuckster for Life. That's Cuckster, the number 4 Life on the Instagram. New adventures for the Cuckster?
That's right. Someone asked the Cuckster what he made of the recent election results, and went to a very philosophical trance about the fact that he doesn't know where he's registered, and election sounds like erection, and if you're not hung like a horse, you better be hung like a donkey. And I assume donkeys are packing.
Yeah, relatively speaking, I'd say yes.
Yeah, all those 4-legged mammals have some heat under the carriage, and what can I say? The Cuckster's he's a man amongst the people.
Some Latino heat.
That's right.
Well, let's get to it. 5 fun facts for you fuckers on a Friday. Did you know laptop screens at Apple stores are open to exactly 70 degrees? They want people to touch the computer, and the angle forces them to.
They don't drop them from the sky and see if they'll live.
No, because they definitely won't. But no, they set the screen at an angle that it's got too much glare to read it, so that you have to touch the computer. And if you touch it, you want it. And now you got a feel for what you could have in your own home every day. Ooh,
God.
Ooh, feel that hinge. Feel how smooth it is.
That went through a lot of litigation within Apple. I mean, that went through a lot of trial and error. People in suits be like, if you touch it, you want it. And people are like, oh man, yeah, I could think of, yeah, that sounds right, yeah. 70 degrees. That's the temperature. I mean, not 69. 71.
Not temperature angle, Wes.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Latino heat. Sorry, you got it been in my mind.
So the screen, they got it set like that so that the lights are bouncing, you can't see the screen. And also it is kind of
so you adjust the screen to be able to see it, and then therefore you want to buy it. Shit, man. What are they going to start doing? Putting Whoppers at 45 degrees? Like, I don't know. I think I want one now.
No, but it is brilliant, and it's one of these subconscious psychological games that they play, because 2 things are happening. One, yes, if you were just walking by, man, that can. Then you're just looking at a piece of plastic essentially, but then you touch it and you pull it forward and you're like, oh. Yes, like I said, you get to feel the hinge moving. You get
that feels like a Samsonite wheel. That's pretty good. Not greased up or anything.
But then you also get to see the clarity of the screen come into
your
focal point, and you're like, oh, that is crisp. I like that. And now and it's also stopped you in your tracks. So you've physically done a bunch of things with it, and the price starts to come down. I can afford this. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Then you touch the fucking mouse surface, and you're like, oh yeah, that touchpad does feel nice. I like that. Let me finger the keys a little.
Yeah. Let me see. Let's see. Get into a jerk off position. See if this will work. See if this is optimal.
This is 4K, you say? 4K.
This does dark web, yeah.
Yeah. Whatever I want. Okay. I can put a VPN on it. Okay. All right. I like what we're doing here. Okay. And how much is it? Okay. You guys do a military discount? All right. Okay.
I got to create an Apple ID. Well, I guess you pay the price of admission. Okay, fair enough.
What's that? No, I do have an iPhone. Oh, so and they link right. Oh, okay.
So I touched the phone and the iPad and the laptop. Okay, all right.
And then myself. All right. Okay, got it. All right.
Just your wife walks in with all you and all 3 fucking pieces of hardware. Nothing to see here. Yeah, nothing. Just linking them up.
It's the ecosystem. Did you know it would take more than an hour for a heavy object to sink to the deepest part of the ocean?
Ooh. Wow. 1
So
hour.
if you fill your Samsonite up with some lead,
Yeah, that would have been the better experiment. 1 hour. Yeah. And what do they? I wonder what they categorize as heavy. What's the threshold? 35 pounds, 40 pounds, or something like that.
what you some kind of pussy over there, huh? Can't even think 35. I ain't heavy to me. You know what I mean? I mean, like 150, two bills. That's heavy to me. You know what I mean?
Well, definition of heavy varies across the board. But
Well, I guess it would also.
1
I
hour.
guess
Okay.
I'm
Does it hit a
wondering-
whale? Does it hit a whale?
You never know. I mean, there might be one of those fish with the little dangly thing on the head, man. You can't ever.
Yeah, right.
You can't account for that shit. Just dropping shit in the ocean like this. Got to fill out some paperwork.
That's an angler fish, right?
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, I would imagine maybe maybe they use the word heavy in my super detailed calendar here because
Right.
it has to do. I would imagine like different materials are probably buoyant in different ways because something that would be heavy on Earth might have a lot of like air in it, which would make it more buoyant.
Yeah.
Does that makes you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
mean,
I understand, man. I understand. Is the Marianas Trench? Yeah, that's the deepest part.
Yeah, so it'd take an hour. But no, because I mean, I'll be honest. I always spit off a really high. Like if I'm on something high, I always spit, and I'm like 1, 2, 3. Oh damn, 3 seconds. You got 3 seconds to think about that one, huh?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of how long Ed Norris went down in the abyss.
God, man, that still gives me the fucking like. That still makes the hair on my arm stand up when I watch him fucking go down that thing.
What when he's basically fucked and he's
Yeah.
breathing that pink juice and
Yeah.
it's just like all right now yeah. I mean, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. You get to see what's her
It's a
face's
great
tatas and yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, those titties are amazing.
It's a non-sex scene too. It's them trying to bring her back to life via
Yeah.
CPR and electronic shock. What's her name? She was Scarface's sister.
Come on, man, you can come up with this, and
Come
it's
on,
not.
man.
It's not who I thought it was, but but she's hot, man.
It's I keep wanting to say in my mind. I keep saying Juliana Margulies, and it's not. It's
She's like a mix between Krista Allen and Juliana Margulies. Like that's the look. We're going to the abyss here.
Mary Elizabeth Mastrano.
Okay. Now I know who I'm looking up a little later on.
And she was also nude in Scarface. But so when she's trying to shoot up a coked up Tony. So again, non-sex scene.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go look up these softcore scenes later for some research purposes. I'm gonna set my screen to 70 degrees while I get myself up to 90. You know what I mean? Did you know there is an 80% chance that a dollar bill contains the remnants of cocaine, of cocaño?
I didn't know it was 80. I've heard varying statistics on that, but 80% chance of remnants of blow. Well, every bill or dollar bill?
I mean, with inflation, I'm assuming 20s are in the category now too.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But it does say dollar bill that a dollar bill contains the remnants of cocaño. Yeah, I mean, now here's the question though.
It's
Is
100% of every peso. Just so you know.
Is that from the rolling and snorting of the product? Is it from it just simply being in the room because so much product and so many dollars are being passed back and forth?
I would have to guess it's the first one. I'd have to guess it's the consumption.
Wow.
Yeah, and then my other guess is, dollars. They just sit in your wallet. They're not washed. They're not scrubbed. They're not cleaned. So you're just and then it's pay for something else, handed to somebody else. Da da da. I mean, currency's filthy in and of itself.
Yeah.
It's gross, and the fact that you're jamming that in your nose, kind of lends itself to a filthy. No one ever says like, "Hey, man, you shouldn't do blow because dollars are fucking filthy." That's not a
You might get a sinus infection. Okay.
that wasn't in the Dare program that I remember. But 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 yeah, 80%. Ah, fucking hell. Well, good. Go. Get them. Get it done. Keep rocking and roll. Let's get that puppy up to 90. You need to pump those. Those are rookie numbers. You need to pump those numbers up, America.
What are you doing, man? Come on. You're an embarrassment.
Don't use a straw. Don't use anything else. Get them dollars out.
Did you know Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone, never phoned his wife or his mother? They were both deaf. Kind of fucked up with the phrase, can you hear me now?
Made for a good prank phone call, though. Too bad he didn't have the wherewithal to do that.
Who are you calling? My mom. This thing doesn't work. All I hear is... Sorry.
Hello? Yeah. Yeah. I wonder who he did call. Did he phone a friend? Was he on the $1 million pyramid?
I do not know. This is where Alan comes into play. Who was the first person that Alexander Graham Bell called? I know he did a call with a president, but I'm sure that wasn't numero uno, you know?
Right. His, the prototype. Yeah. I was at a, by the way, yep. Bengals tied it up 35-35, 38 seconds left.
Jesus, what is with the fucking Bengals? The Bengals could have Deshaun Watson with a fucking bum Achilles in there and still fucking tie a football game against us.
That's right. So I was at a Verizon store. I needed to get a charger. This is like circa 05-06 in Yankton, South Dakota. I'm all over the map here. I was in Boise, Idaho earlier. I'm in Yankton, South Dakota right now. And someone was getting their first phone. It was a flip phone. And this guy was amazed. This like 50-year-old was amazed that he could make a phone call right there. Like I could call my family right here, and I'm standing behind him, and I know what I need. I need charger, plug. And the sales associate's like, yeah, anybody. He's like, well, hold on. Calls his wife. Yeah, I'm in the store right now. Yeah, look at that. I'm talking to you right from this phone I just bought. And I was like, you son of a bitch. I'm about to fucking... I don't prescribe, adhere, or endorse sucker punching. But goddamn, I was about to give this guy a left hook that Larry Holmes would have been like, good shot, young man.
I know, but it's always stuff like that. Like, I wish we could all take a beat sometimes. Like, we're in too much of a rush in this country to witness someone's amazement at something that is in fact amazing.
Oh, yeah, this guy. I didn't check, but he probably had a hard on, and they probably went back and ate the grandest ear of corn that you can imagine. But yeah, I only thought was because my aunt, who's I love her. She's not the most pleasant person. She was driving me, and she was like, "What the hell happened in there?" It's like, oh God, yeah. I tried to get him to fucking instead. Can I just buy this fucking charger, man? Can you have phone sex with your wife elsewhere?
Well, I mean, this is similar-ish.
Oh, FYI, they went for 2 and they didn't get it.
Nice, well done. So it's still tied. Is that
No. Ravens are up 1.
Oh, shit. All right. There we go. Good job, Bengals. Way to fuck it up. No, I was in Wawa the other day, and okay. 3 things are happening here. So, first, the credit card reader's not reading the card right away, and I'm like, so I do the... And this is with my, work Voyager card where I got to punch in all my information and shit. And so, finally, it does work, and I'm like, okay, cool. But I got to get a receipt, right? I hear the receipt machine go... No receipt. Fuck. Gotta go inside. Well, guess what? There's only one register person and they're only there so fucking the degenerates can still buy all their tobacco products. And so the line, for the actual registers, like all the way around to the food area. So I wait 5 fucking minutes. I'm next. Old lady. How much is it? $4.27. Oh, hold on. I think I got the change. Like, motherfucker. In the year 2024, you're going to go digging in to that off-white fake leather fucking purse of yours and dig around for
right, just
27 cents.
And it's got Coke remnants all over it. Every last job.
4 ones, you fiend. A couple of, Yeah. Now, see, that's something where I can see flipping out, but a guy being amazed that he can make a fucking
I can call anyone right now
in the world.
Yeah.
God damn. All right, then. And finally, did you know the focusing muscles of the eyes move 100,000 times a day?
Damn.
Why are these bitches falling apart, man?
Again, didn't know that. That would have been something. So my grandfather was an ophthalmologist. That's probably a tidbit that he would have known. But 100,000 times a day, yeah. I mean, you're constantly maneuvering around. You're constantly looking at screens that are at 70 degrees tilted and constantly adjusting to here and there. And yeah, those eyes talk. Those eyes talk. Give it the chef's kiss there.
He said it with such emphasis that I still don't know what it means, but I believe that they talk to
my only good story about my grandfather, I asked him a couple times, like, what was some of the nastiest shit you saw? And he said a kid walked into a cigarette butt.
Oh.
But one of the near things is he knew, he as a ophthalmologist knew the prescription that he needed for eyewear, but he couldn't prescribe it to himself by law. Okay. So he knew the eye charts, the letters. So he just lied, at a distance, and they had him stand at a certain distance and he could read, a certain, like the semblance of letters, but he knew what type of prescription he wanted to focus in on certain things. So he lied, got at a certain distance, like, can't read can't read that. And I'm like, oh, okay, here you go. Here's what you want. Yeah.
Well, couldn't he just go and be like, hey, Dave, I can't write my own script, but this is the one I want.
Yeah, I asked him that, and he said back then he would have been at risk to lose his license, which he could not.
Jesus
he
Christ.
could not afford to do because he was the only eye doctor in a town of about 13,000 people, and back then he made a pretty penny being the only person that everyone came to.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, couldn't you sit down the owl machine and just like, yep, number 2, number 1, up, down, left, right, BA, start, let's go.
It's 30 lives in Contra. Look at you, old West, you old zinger, you. Here you
Perfect.
Go. Yeah, take this to where you need. So. I found that to be pretty funny. He said the kid got a paper cut in his eye.
Ooh. Stop. All right, just stop, because any injury to the eye is just gonna fucking wince. Ugh. Fuck, man. That just completely obliterated anything I was fucking thinking about next.
100,000 times a day. Your eyes are always twitching.
Yeah, and that, my friends, is your Fun Fact Friday.
Yeah. Well, tonight on Before You Go, we have a Middle Class Souls Badass of the Month. And folks, we apologize. We're probably going to finish with about 7 or maybe 8 badasses of the month. We may have missed a few here, though. And we lost a little bit of steam knowing that the first one they came out of the gate with was the guy who got shot in the head and partied for 3 or 4 days. But this one ranks up. Runner creates largest GPS drawn penis to raise awareness for charity. Quote, hardest thing I've ever done. Hardest. He went balls out on this stiff challenge. A runner used a route tracking app, Strava, to draw the largest ever GPS map penis to raise money for men's mental health issues. The record-breaking 75-mile phallus was drawn in less than 24 hours by Terry Rossman, 39, a marketing director of South Wales during the trek through the Welsh Mountains. So I'll give you, if you'd like a frame of reference.
Yeah, I want to see this, because what I do appreciate about what he did here is, man.
Albeit it looks, if that's how your penis looks, I would see a doctor ASAP, especially if that's how the head of your penis looked. let alone the shaft or balls.
Well,
Although
but
he,
here's
he,
the thing,
he
though.
ran up to create the crevice of the balls, then ran back down.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like the attention to detail on the ball ridge.
Yeah,
I mean that to me, like, because look, there's going to be some other folks out there that try to recreate this. Maybe try to, extend the shaft a little more. But the fact that he put the ball ridge in there, now to me, that is the chef's kiss
yep,
of GPS penises. And you got to remember too, with the ridge at the head there. I mean, he's got it. Look, he is doing it in a mountain pass, so he does have to
sure,
find, like, all right, where am I going to cut across? Okay, this is a good spot. Because look at the topography, like right in the middle of the head of the cock there. Like
yeah,
that's a mountain. Like down a little bit, not down.
right
Okay,
here.
go to in the middle, up a hair, right in the middle
This
of it,
guy
like you're trying to hit the center of the circle. Center of the
here.
circle. Yeah, right there. See, that is the top of a mountain right there where your finger is. So he
Yeah,
had to go around that. And the other thing that's amazing too, in order to make that line, he had to run that twice. Same with the
yeah.
ridge. Same with the ridge of the balls. He had to run up and back the same path. So that's some. I mean, 75 miles and 24 hours running, and Sarah couldn't even look at the sky for 0.25 seconds. Yeah, that's good. I mean, and by the way, the topography there gives it a nice, some nice textures. If I am
That's right.
being critical here.
That's right. It also, I mean, it's not human ingenuity, the human will, if you will, the man's will, if you will, to do such a thing, to raise awareness. And when he
He
raised
didn't do
nine
it to
grand,
raise awareness. He attached awareness to it after the fact. You know that as well as I do. He said, I'm going to make a big GPS penis, or maybe that was his motivation to make a big GPS penis. But at the end of the day, the want and the will was to make a world record GPS penis, and he just found a way to get it sponsored and or give himself an excuse to have the motivation to go out and do so. Because if you're going to run 75 miles, you might as well make a penis out of it.
I mean, he raised 9 grand. It wasn't like this is earth shattering money, life changing money. This isn't generational wealth.
No, it's not. But my point being though,
Is
like
this
if
the
you're,
first of many more to come?
yes.
Okay, I hope.
Well, maybe see somebody's got to top it too. So now maybe you need a little splatter.
Yeah.
Maybe you need a little something else. Maybe a little distance. Maybe a little pea stream coming out of there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's our middle class souls badass of the month. Congratulations. Come on, man. What is your name? I had a name, you dumb bastard. Terry Rossman, marketing director, South Wales. Ran through the Welsh Mountains. Made a penis.
Dude, somebody's got to do one. I mean, because there's ultra marathoners out there. So what they need to do is just set an ultra marathon course up in the shape of a dick, and just have everybody run it.
I mean, maybe somewhere in Forrest Gump's track, he drew a penis. You think he could do that back and forth USA? What is it? I mean, it's like 3,200 miles. He did it 3 times.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. I mean, he's running, doing the zigzag in North Carolina. That might not might not be the anatomy of a penis or balls, but you could get something out of that.
Well, I've seen some done by planes. People have flown flight patterns and tracked it and made some very detailed cock and balls out of there. But
Yeah.
I think there's something very very organic about doing it with the feet. You know what I mean? Getting out there, using your body,
It's it. Yeah, yeah.
really putting some skin in the game, if you will.
And after he was done, he was greeted by his 2 daughters, who gave him hugs and kisses, and
So proud.
yeah, proud dad moment. What'd you do? Well, I'll tell you about it later. One listener comment that I want to get to. This was via a Instagram post where I put Al Bundy and Michael Jordan side by side and said the 2 world's greatest shoe salesmen. And NUCU fan that's a Newcastle United fan, 1977. He's like, I have to go with Bundy as the GOAT on this one.
I disagree. Sorry.
It's just, numbers don't lie.
Yeah, dude, I saw a meme, and it was of, Jordan doing like one of his famous dunk contest championship slams or whatever, and he's wearing the first Jordans, and they were showing like what the parameters were for him to earn his giant contract that Nike could not afford. It was like had to average like 20 points a game for a season, had to do this, had to do that, and he fucking crushed every single one of the fucking stats. It was like 5 things, and he like outsold, like he had to sell at least like $20 million worth like in order to get the contract, and he sold like $70 million worth first year. It's just,
yeah, man.
It was amazing, dude. Absolutely incredible. There's no debate. That's all I'm gonna say. The debate.
Yeah.
It's just not there.
It's people who want to, people of a different generation who want there to be something better than they can conceive. Yeah, because they didn't live it. I didn't live I was living. I didn't pay attention to the early Jordan stuff. But in The Last Dance, like his second year, he missed a chunk of time with a substantial ankle injury, and when he came back, they put him on a minutes limit, and they needed to win the last game to get into the playoffs. And Doug Collins was still like, the management says it's like 20 some odd minutes. So he went out and dropped like 42 and specifically said, like, take me out for the middle of the game, put me into the end of the game. And, I'm going to win this fucker, and hit a last second shot, 42 points, I think it was like 21 minutes, to get them. And then the minutes limit was pulled away for the playoffs, which when he dropped the 66 against the Celtics. But yeah, God, dude, that's again, we took that whole Jeremy Roenick story. You were like, there needs to be more of that. There's got to be more of that shit. And when I got drunk all day playing 2 rounds of golf, and he was like, all right, fuck it, I'll go drop 50. Fuck you.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, and that also being like mauled, like literally mauled by the Detroit Pistons to where he decided, I need to go on an all-protein diet and lift weights every single day. Like,
yep.
To get strong enough to take a beating under the basket.
Yeah. A 7 foot, nearly 300 pound man like Bill Laimbeer is going to hacksaw me every time I get into the restricted area. And no, I got to toughen up.
Yeah. I can't. There's no whistle. There's no whistle saving me.
They made a game called Bill Laimbeer's Combat Basketball, and it's atrocious. It is fucking terrible, and should not be purchased by anyone ever in the eons of history. But it was all predicated on, there was no fouls, anything like that. So, well, all right, Ravens win. Anything to say for yourself?
Hoo-ah.
You're a Marine now? You're a merchant Marine again?
No, I know you referenced Scarface so many times. It's not just hoo-ah. You gotta do the fucking battle cry.
I have said to myself, if I ever get into a quasi-friendly / argumentative, somewhere in between debate with a jarhead, I am going to say, hey man, it's okay. I was a Marine too. Like, wait, what? Like, and then them try to question me on it. Like, what? I was a merchant Marine. And see how that goes over.
Their battle cries. Oh.
All right. Good night, folks.